Hey, what's up? Brycey here, the Holistic Bee, and in this series we are talking about the modes of energy. And if you're new here, this is just one small part of a greater, longer discussion that I've been putting out in a few different series of posts where we're talking about different methods that we use as herbalists, as well as holistic wellness practitioners, self-healers, to help assess the different energetics, not only of our biological individuality or bio-individuality, but to assess the energetics of our symptoms. So that, especially if you're learning herbalism or practicing herbalism, these are fundamental methods in kind of learning how to understand how to match the herb with the symptom, or the herb with the person. So if you're new here, go back and watch the rest of the videos in the series. We've got a lot of different topics, a lot of different things that are kind of building up into more and more as we go along. And in this video, we are talking again about the modes of energy. So the modes of energy would be mutable, which represents changeable; cardinal, which essentially is either something that starts a chain reaction, and then fixed is something that is unchanging, or at the very least extremely slow to change. So in this video, we're getting into mutable energy. So if we're talking about a person, or just a personality type that is mutable or changeable, this is a person that is easy. It adapts easily to any situation. Basically, someone that is able to essentially shapeshift and make themselves comfortable in any situation whatsoever. If we're talking the energetics of a symptom, this could be symptoms that change depending on the environment or the circumstances around. So sometimes symptoms are either more aggravated or brought to more ease during warm conditions, or aggravated or brought to more ease during cold conditions, etc. So back to the mutable person. Not only is the mutable person easily able to adapt to any circumstance, any situation, but they're also very changeable in themselves. They may represent many different personality types, and it may seem pick your personality, but that is their personality, is that they can embody many different personalities. Very, very changeable in that way. Mutable types tend to be a lot more creative, a lot more empathetic, because they can shift essentially and put themselves in another person's shoes to really understand and embody what that other person is feeling. The mutable person is also very expressive and also very influenceable. And being influenceable or suggestible can be a virtue, but it can also be a vice. And other vices of the mutable person could be instability, indecisiveness, could be overly sensitive at times, and often lack a follow through, meaning they start something or say they're going to do something but do not follow through to the finish line because they're too busy changing before they ever get there. Some of the kind of symptoms that the dominantly mutable person could present throughout their lifetime could be things like hormonal imbalances, nervous system disorders, digestive disorders, as well as mental illness. And these things are not exclusive to the mutably dominant person, but they are more common here than in others. And that is usually because of that high volume of changeability in this person's life. It can be extremely disruptive to the mental emotional state, the nervous system, the digestive system, and the hormones, etc. Some of the best categories of herbs for the mutable person would be things like adaptogens, because adaptogens are a class of herbs that help us adapt to different changing circumstances in our lives, help us form more resilience to high stress situations, as well as nervines or nerve tonics. These are a class of herbs that help to nourish and fortify the nervous system. Herbs that would act as digestives, things that help to soothe and smooth the process of digestion, as well as grounding herbs and astringent herbs that just help bring a little more structure, a little more stability, a little more toning, a little more tightening. You know, sometimes the mutable person requires just a little bit more rigidity in their lives so that they can bring that follow through to what they say they're going to do or what they set out to do, whatever that be. So that was a bit on the mutable person. And again, if we're talking about like symptoms that are, you know, being presented from some kind of imbalance, these would be symptoms that will change depending on the condition one is in, depending on the mood one is in, depending on, you know, lots of different things. Thanks so much for sitting through this video. Be sure to come back for our discussion on the cardinal type. See you later.